Hello, welcome to Record Sports Hotline Live, brought to you by NordVPN. My name is Daniel Cobb. I'm delighted to be joined by Record Sports Keith Jackson and Craig Swan. Guys, how are you both?
Good, Daniel.
Very well.
It was good to see you both. We're starting the week right because we've got the one and only Des Roache on with us as well.
I was wondering why you were so excited, Daniel. I can feel that you're excited. You're excited, wee Daniel.
Aye, definitely. This is the best way to start the week, Keith. Let's do it with our ref watch, Des. How's it going?
I'm very good. I wish my wife was as excited as you.
Easy now.
Where are we going? You've opened
There
the
he
door
is.
there.
The week could be ended as fast as it starts.
Yes, it's all good, gentlemen. All good.
Wonderful.
Hope you're
It's
well.
good. It's good to have an all-star affair, a packed house, and Des, I think we should just get you on a retainer for Monday nights, to be honest, because another weekend of controversial decisions.
Who was it said, Daniel? Somebody said last week, didn't they? Here's hoping for a cracking weekend with no controversial refereeing decisions. Jog on, keep going.
Someone wrote in the comments saying, I just hope refereeing decisions doesn't come up in this running. I'm sure they won't. But aye, that's probably the best place for us to start. And we were talking just before we come on air. I'm very keen to know all of your thoughts on the big one for the weekend, I think, was Hearts' decisive penalty against Motherwell. What did you make of it, Des?
So it's been quite vocal in what's been going on. For me, I think it's a penalty. Now, under laws of the game, they're saying that dangerous play, the player's falling backwards, he's making an attempt to play the ball, that's not there. But how can you kick somebody in the back of the head and it not be a foul? If that happened anywhere else in the park, if that happens, I'm sorry, but in my view, that's a penalty kick. And I can't fathom why it's not. However, under laws of the game, that covers it, that it's not a penalty. But at that moment in time, the law just looks ridiculous.
What law says that's not a penalty?
It's dangerous. Law 12. So I'm going to have to refer to it here. Law 12.
So, I mean, just to play devil's advocate, I mean, I think it was a penalty. But just to play devil's advocate, is there something to be said that if a player is trying to head the ball that low down,
the player shouldn't be attempting to kick it, but it's a reaction. It's an absolute reaction. I'm just trying to through. I've had screeds of stuff being sent to me.
So you telling us, Des, that to award a penalty here is actually wrong, even though you agree it should be a penalty. According to the laws of the game, that shouldn't be a penalty kick.
Right, so I've got it here. So looking under the laws of the game here, playing in a dangerous manner, and I do not agree with this. Don't agree with it. Playing in a dangerous manner is any action that, while trying to play the ball, threatens to injure someone, including the player themselves, and including preventing a nearby opponent from playing the ball for fear of injury. Right. So to me, that means it's a penalty kick. It's there. I don't know how they've come to that conclusion. I understand why it's given it, but in the laws of the game, apparently playing under the dangerous play, it's not a penalty.
What, Kabori's being accused there of dangerous play? By getting his head kicked?
So here's how stupid it is. It could actually be a foul given to Motherwell.
I mean, Tam says in the comments, do you not need to take into account the fact the boy's lying in the ground? I think he's more been knocked over, though, to be fair.
Yeah, I just think he's off balance, and Welsh is fully within his right to play. I don't think there's any malice or intent, not at all. But you can kick somebody in the head, and it's not a foul, and therefore it's a foul in the penalty, it's a penalty kick. But under laws of the game, apparently that's covered, and it's not a penalty.
How do you see it, Swanee?
I think when Stephen Welsh misses the ball and kicks Kabori in the head, it's really got to be given, hasn't it? I do take on board the call, questioning, Kabori's wriggling around the ground. Sometimes you see guys challenging in the middle of the park, and if somebody stoops for a header, you see the player going, "Oh, his head was down there." And it's kind of a valid argument when he's on the deck. But I think Stephen Welsh misses the ball and kicks him in the head. I don't think you're going to get away with that.
No.
I think that sums it up rather.
How does it sum it up? Because apparently it shouldn't have been given.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's a penalty kick all day long. If somebody kicks somebody in the head, it's a penalty kick.
But is this not what we've called for, Keith? For referees to ignore some of the stupid laws and actually use common sense of what's right in front of them?
Good point.
I think that's what we've all been calling for with a million rules, is it not?
I'm struggling to understand. I'm struggling to understand how, according to the laws of the game, that's Kabori putting other people at risk. I just don't get it.
I don't get it either.
Some of the laws are just...
It's one of the ones where you go, I'll bite my tongue. Well, obviously we're not biting my tongue, but yeah, that's a penalty for me.
We've got so many people in the comments as well referencing Austin Trusty and Butland as well from earlier this season, as I guess they're going to do. But aye, you're not.
Well, the difference.
Difference in why, Daniel, in the sense that a free kick was given to Rangers the same way as a free kick stroke penalty was given to Hearts.
Aye, foul, aye.
And Stephen Welsh wasn't sent off, was he?
No, I think yellow card.
So what's the difference?
Fair point.
I'm not quite sure what the gripe is there.
Do you know what I think the only difference in the two actions is that Butland had the ball in his possession. Trusty kicked out a foot in his direction for no reason at all other than to make contact with him. Whereas Welsh is quite clearly trying to play the ball. He just misses and gets Kabori. But I think there is a little bit of a difference between the two of them, to be perfectly honest. And Des and I have had this discussion before, haven't we?
I said at the time as well, I know Trusty's foot made contact with Butland's head, but it wasn't really a kick, was it? He didn't kick him in the head. But anyway, let's not go over.
Kind of did.
No, he made contact with his head, but it wasn't. Did he volume in the back of the napper or anything?
No, it wasn't violent, but he put his boot into Butland's face, which.
Well, don't get me wrong, really stupid.
Red card for stupidity for that one.
I agree with that.
We don't want to have that debate all over again.
Of course.
No.
Right, what else was going on the weekend? We've got so many to get through. Shall we look at the Rangers game now? We've dealt with the Hearts penalty. Because there was a few in that, Keith. And the best one, or the biggest one rather, deals with Rangers' first goal. I've seen this debated so much online overnight. The cross, I think, from Nico Raskin in the build-up. We literally don't have a camera angle that shows the ball, whether or not it definitely goes out. The ball goes out of the screen as it goes above the bar. I actually saw people on Twitter saying, look, if you look at Scott Bain's eyes, his eyes never leave the ball. It doesn't go out. If we're at the stage where our technology is, we need to look at Scott Bain's eyes. We're really struggling. Do you know what I mean? So,
that's the stage we're at with our technology, isn't it?
That's where we are.
And the camera view that you're getting is the back of Scott Bain's head, so you can see his eyes.
Well, I think the ones that I've taken grabs from here, there's a bit where he does kind of...
He turns and watches the flight of the ball.
Aye. Yeah. And for me, look, for what it's worth, I don't think it went out. I think you can see that it probably didn't go out. And there's no...
I don't know if you can see, Dan. Isn't that the problem?
I think
there's nothing conclusive. There's nothing.
Aye, that's
definitive.
There's nothing conclusive. Aye,
and I guess Des is going to tell us that's why VAR couldn't intervene in that instance. If you don't have conclusive proof, you can't just guess. I think it was probably out. So for me, Des, don't know about you, the linesman has got to be the best placed man in the stadium to make that call, because he should be looking right across, right on line with it. So if the linesman says it hasn't gone out, I don't think anybody can overrule him in that. Am I right?
Yeah, completely agree. So the assistant was Daniel McFarlane. So he's the only one that's in a position to make that call. And we've just seen the stills there. The stills that we're getting, the ball isn't even in the image.
Aye.
And the ball's up there somewhere with Artemis 2.
Aye. Aye. So, and this is where our operational system with VAR isn't working, because we don't have enough cameras to cover it. And bear in mind, the clubs are paying for this, but you've got to go with the on-field decision there, because if there's no conclusive evidence, then you can't go against it. All in sundry, and as much as I was watching as well, I thought it looked out, but going by I think that's just a guess, so you can't go for that. So you've got to trust the on-field decision.
Can I just ask you a quick question? Sorry, but Daniel, can I ask you a quick question, Des?
Of course.
And towards Keith as well, I suppose, after what you were saying there, Keith. Is it not a wee bit unfair to take umbrage with it with the linesman? Is he not so... I take it he's not meant to be right on the line at that point. Is the linesman not supposed to be taking his line off the last man to try and cover for offsides.
He's meant to be in line with the second last defender.
Right, so that's what I mean. So, well, there you go, to cover offside. So, piling onto the linesman and said he should be on the line to see that's wrong, if you ask me. The linesman's got to take a line off the last. If somebody's, if a ball's getting played through for offside 20 yards for goal, you don't want the linesman at the stand at the corner flag.
No.
I think it's a wee bit unfair if I go at him. I think this comes back to the technology thing.
No, I'm not having a go.
Standing right on the line. I expect us no getting our VAR from Fisher Price and buying it out of Smith's Toys.
I'm not having a go though, Swanee.
No, it's just the fact he said he should be in position to see it, and he should be the best place. Well, I think he probably is in the right position, and the right position isn't right on the byline. So it comes back to the VAR argument, is what I mean.
He must have been pretty close to that, because there was a whole bunch of players all at the back post, and the fact Fernandez gets his head on the ball at the back post, and then goes over the byline and in towards the advertising.
Yeah, once the ball's been in the air, if you look at the still that was just taken there, as Des is saying, the second last defender's on the 6-yard line, is he not? No, he's not. 4 yards out. So he's 4 yards out. So that's where I would expect a linesman to be.
No, the second last defender's 2 yards out, because Scott Bain is the last defender.
Right, okay, yeah.
The second last defender is the fullback.
A yard out.
A yard or two out. So
yeah. Anyway, the bottom line is he's in the best position to call that, and he's called it.
He's called it correctly. Because there's no conclusive evidence to say to the contrary.
I think even if you just look at the reaction from John McGlynn, he wasn't throwing his hands up in the air saying, crying foul. He was furious with his own defenders for not playing to the whistle and switching off as Rangers all piled in at the back post.
It was good to hear that, Keith, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good.
It's good to hear John McGlynn come out and say that, rather than, that ball was it, when we all know he's standing in a technical area and he's no chance of seeing it.
Yeah.
It was good to hold it straight,
But he does know what he's watching.
If a whine about that, that turned the game right before half time. That wasn't right.
He does know what he's watching, Swanee, when it comes to his own players. Yeah. And I'm afraid from Falkirk's perspective, it was just the start of some really dodgy defending, which would undermine them in the game itself. 2-0 lead, they were looking really comfortable, and then they just fell apart. From that goal onwards, it was Suicide Squad stuff for Dunfermline at the back.
The other decision from Falkirk Rangers, which was a bit more controversial, was Jayden Magoma on Calvin Miller. I think it was 2-0 to Falkirk at the time, or certainly, I think it was 2-0.
Yeah, I think it was.
It's reminiscent, Keith, of one we talked about last Monday with Mark Leonard, who was sent off for a tackle on Robbie Muirhead on the halfway line. What do you guys think? Do you think this is potentially denying a goal-scoring opportunity?
I think he gets quite lucky, Magoma. I think we've seen a number of instances in recent weeks where players have walked for that or something really similar. I mean, every sort of example is slightly different. That's just the nature of the thing. And if you look, I think that's Raskin to to Magoma's left, and as Calvin Miller gets the ball away from Magoma, Raskin is going back in there, and maybe it's because of that there was a yellow card, not a red. That would be my only take from it. Des?
So, like you, with last week, I said I thought the Leonard one was a yellow. Didn't think it was a red card.
I thought it was a red.
No, I know. We've different opinion on that one. If you're going by last week and going by this week, this is probably more of an obvious goal scoring opportunity because he's in the middle of the park. He's got a straight run. There's defenders-ish around it. If you're given last week, I think you should be looking at this one as well. Now, I'll just put it back as I said. I thought last week was a yellow card. I think this is a yellow card. But if you're setting a precedent and you're looking for consistency, then I'm sorry. But here's a thing last week. So who sent off Mark Leonard last week?
I was at the game. I should know that. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember that far back.
Right. So it was Kevin Clancy who gave a yellow card.
That's right.
Kevin Clancy gave a yellow card at the time. Who was the VAR?
Don Robertson.
who was the referee yesterday.
Interesting.
So it's a yellow card if I'm refereeing, but it's a red card if I'm telling you you're refereeing.
That's what I'm saying, consistency.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
And it's, in my opinion,
twice right themselves.
In my opinion, I think that because of the position of the ball and the position of play, I think that's more of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity than the previous one. I think what people get caught up with the Mark Leonard one is Mark Leonard's maybe a wee bit more cynical because he's just went, right, I'm just taking you out. And, and that's it. And if that's what the red card's for serious foul play, okay, you bite the bullet and get on with it. But that's more of an opportunity. We've seen guys hit shots with halfway lines, etc. That's more of an opportunity than the Heartsman was. But and as much as I like Don, and I think Don's our best referee, Don gave a red last week, as you just said, and he's now given a yellow when he's the man on the pitch.
Can I ask that question? Can I ask you another question, Des, just to clear that up? Because I was at Livingston Hearts and it happened on our side at the press box. It was right in front of us. And I wondered that at the time, what you've just said there, because we were debating it in the press room afterwards. And the fact that it was quite clear that the ball had been knocked past Mark Leonard and he just went, oh, I'm not getting it. And just, as in, there was no attempt to play the ball whatsoever. Does that come into it at all? I just wanted to ask that because I wondered if that's why it was the red. I know I'm dragging this back a week. Sorry about this, lads, but I never got a chance to ask Des.
No, it does, and it's the way you do it. I mean, if you're going to just nudge the guy or whatever, if you're going to clean them out. As I say, at the time, I thought it was a yellow card and just went, right, take off it. I think it was too far. For me, an obvious goal-scoring opportunity is when you're in the final third and you're close to it. But if that's the precedent that's been set, then that one fulfills the same criteria for me.
I don't know, slightly different. The Mark Leonard was just about on the halfway line, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If you pull up that still, you'll see he's about 15, 20 yards still to go to get to the halfway line. And I just wonder if Raskin's position and the fact that Raskin is on the retreat and running back in, I think he's expecting to get a pass from Magoma, but he's running back. I'm not as convinced as I was about Mark Leonard's red card.
Look at it there. Look at it there. What is he going to do? He can go and look at the Rangers goalkeeper is. He's on the edge of his penalty area. He's on the D.
Yeah. I don't know. Mark Leonard's was more of a red card. But if you're going to get, and especially you just pointed out, it's the same guy making the decision. And it's a very, very similar decision. And if we're crying out for consistency, and that is what we've always been crying out for, then, you know, he's only got one choice to make there, probably. Because if it's a red card one week, it has to be a red card the next.
Well, that's what I feel.
Can you imagine you had to make Don Robertson's tea? 2 sugars and milk one day, and then the next day you don't know whether it's black, and then you do something.
That's a very good point, Swanee. That's never let it be said that we don't deal with the big issues here in the Hotline Live.
Yeah.
There's a couple more instances from the weekend, Des, that I need to get your take on before we let you go and get your dinner. Aberdeen versus Hibs, huge, massive win for Aberdeen, and they were helped in no. Sorry, my computer froze there. They were helped by Grant Hanley's red card. Now, any debate about this? Looked pretty straightforward to me.
None for me. The only issue for me was it should have been given at the time on field.
It was strange that it wasn't, Keith. I mean, it looked pretty.
I felt a bit sorry for Big Grant Hanley. It probably is the right decision. I don't think he means it.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the two of them come to the ground. So it's almost like an awkward sort of collision. Grant Hanley's legs come over his own head as he's falling and seem to catch the Aberdeen player. Who was it? Olasanya?
Olasanya, I think, yeah.
And I think he's just really unlucky. But that's what VAR's there for. As a coming together, as a clear and obvious goal-scoring opportunity, it's probably the right decision. But I did feel sorry for Grant Hanley. So I don't think there was any intent there on his part.
The worst one from Aberdeen, though. Aberdeen themselves should have probably been down to 10 men. This one is really bizarre, Des. It looks like for all, Guillaume kind of just batters his opponent right in the back of the head, absolutely clatters him. VAR takes a look at it, the referee goes away, looks at the screen, sees it and decides to give a yellow. I mean, how is that a yellow card?
Talk us through it, Des, help.
there's no way you can talk you through it because he's punched him in the back of the head.
Yeah.
You can't. And I think there's 3 people culpable for here. Now, I think David, if David's not seen it and there's lots going on, right, okay, fine. But Douglas Ross is AR2, who's right in front of it. He's watching it. And then you've got Greg Aitken as the VAR watching it. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I watched Tyson Fury on Friday night and Saturday night, and I'm not sure he threw a better punch in the back of the head than that. That's as clear a red card as you're ever going to get. And how you can go to the screen from giving nothing to give a yellow, what are you giving a yellow for?
It's astonishing. It's an astonishing decision.
I would love to see the match referee's report and why you're giving a yellow card for that, because that's violent conduct.
I'm with you.
I'm my thunder there, Des. One of the I was going to say, because I just it came into my head. Same team, Hibs at Celtic Park. Austin Trusty punched someone in the arm and got a red card. After a VAR review. Now Hibs gets punched in the back of the head, and after a VAR review, it's not.
But see the guy when you see the guy that get punched in the arm who had went down as if he'd broke his arm, he was the guy that then went and grabbed John's Scales 2 minutes later and should have gave away a penalty because he's got a broken arm.
Mizuno in the comments, you can see on the screen, says Trusty gets a red 3-game ban for slapping the hand away, but that was a yellow card yesterday apparently for Guillaume.
How can you have a rabbit punch that's not violent conduct? Now, fair play to the referee. I totally get it, Des. I agree with you. A lot going on in a game. You can't have eyes in the back of your head. I don't blame him at all for not seeing it at full speed as it was happening. Don't blame. No blame apportion whatsoever.
No.
See when VAR intervenes and you get called across to a screen and you stand there and you watch slow motion replay of a guy rabbit punching his opposing player, and you watch it 3 or 4 times. How on earth do you decide yellow card? It's staggering.
Here's another thing: VAR shouldn't be getting involved for yellow cards.
That's right. There you go.
VAR should only be there for red card offences. So that again is re-refereeing the game. And if you're pulling if I'm getting pulled across and said to me, Des, I want you to really look at this. I think he's punched in the back of the head. It's a yellow card. No, you shouldn't even get me across. You're getting me across to tell him that it's a red card.
Yeah.
And the assistant referee number 2, who's in line with the second class defender, again, he should be able to have a clear view. So I'm not apportioning any blame at all to David Dickinson. As we'll correctly say, there's lots going on at the time. It's a fast-moving environment. But VAR shouldn't be coming across for a yellow card.
I'm apportioning blame to David Dickinson because he's went across to a TV screen and saw a guy getting punched in the back of the head and hasn't thought it was a red card.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not apportioning to blame during the time for missing it. I'm not apportioning blame for that.
Yeah.
But apportioning blame for going across, watching it and saying, no, that's only a yellow. No. You get locked up in the street. You locked up in the street if you've done that.
So VAR is only supposed to get involved if it's a red card offence. They call the referee over to show a red card offence, and then they don't give a red card.
It's magic.
Willie Collum's explanation show at the end of this month's going to be about 3 hours long.
Willie Collum might need an explanation show just to say why there's 170 officials going to the World Cup this summer, 6 of them are women, and we don't have a single Scottish official amongst them, and we wonder why.
And we've got a specialist VAR manager to look after these VAR people and coach them.
Oh man,
it's embarrassing.
You can see on your screen that friend of the show, Kyle Gunn, says get onto the Dundee and Kelly penalty. I can't wait for this one. Embarrassing. It's fair to say that Neil McCann and Stephen Presley were absolutely furious after the game at the weekend, absolutely slating VAR. It was Joe Wesley had the chance to win it in the 94th minute, but he was made to wait 8 minutes before he could take the penalty and then missed it. I mean, why would it take so long, Des, before he can take a penalty?
As Swanee said, they could be making Don Robertson's tea for one sugar, two sugar.
VAR guy was watching the Grand National.
It was on I Am Maximus.
Yeah, didn't turn the telly over.
This to me, when what I took from it, now I think it's a push. I do. I think it was a push to his back. But when they're saying Hawkeye couldn't provide an appropriate image,
right?
Now I've said all the time, we've got VAR light up here, right? See, when you're looking at, we need VAR heavy up here. That's what we need. It's just, if they can say that they can't provide an image, and it's taken 6-7 minutes to get that, that's not good enough. It's not good enough. Absolutely not. I mean, they're saying he's offside. What's offside now? You wear a size 10 boots or you wear a size 6. That's what we're getting. For me, I think it was a penalty. I'm okay with it. Neil McCann says it wasn't. I disagree, but I'll allow your opinion. But it's the length of time that it's taken to get there. And guess who was the fourth official that day?
Cool.
Don Robertson.
Wow.
Daniel, can you pull that still up again in the incident?
Aye, hold on.
Get the big main one. There's the advert for our VAR equipment right behind on the billboard. you got it for about £8.
Aldi VAR.
Yeah.
You'll be buying it on Vinted.
See, the thing is though, Des, Neil McCann says at the end of the game, he spoke to the officials and they said to him, we couldn't quite calibrate the lines, as you say. He said, we couldn't quite get an image. See if we can't do it. What is the point in having it at all? I mean, Stephen Presley said that, we don't have the technology. It's just embarrassing, stuff like this.
Yeah. I mean, you guys will be in a better position than me, but is it 6 cameras at every game they're using?
I think that's right.
Minimum, yeah.
Minimum,
yeah. But we're not getting penalty area decisions. No, I think it's, if you're going to do it right. As I say, we've got VAR light, we need to go VAR heavy.
We need
to do what Sweden do and not have it at all. That's what we need.
Are we getting there? I've always been a big kind of advocate of VAR. Anything that helps our referees get the big decisions right has to be good. But
yeah,
even I'm starting to look at this and go, this is just farcical stuff.
Aye, shambolic.
Well, see with the World Cup coming up now, we've obviously got our FIFA listed officials, etc., and they can't operate in Europe if we don't have VAR, because that's the protocol for UEFA. We're not.
We can't get a gig anyway.
We're not. Well, that's it. We're not getting to the World Cup. Nick Walsh has just been appointed at Christmas time to UEFA elite status, so he could be potentially refereeing the Champions League final next year, Barcelona versus Bayern Munich.
Doubt it.
But he can't get to the World Cup. That shows you how low we are standing now.
And if that's and to me, Des, if that is one of the reasons for it, that's just not acceptable. So basically, we've got to put up with this farce on a weekly basis. So a few guys can get a few gigs in Europe, and they don't get them anyway. When it comes to we should do what Sweden do and get shot of it. It's no good unless we can get it right. I made a statement earlier before we came on here. If you're playing in the Masters, you wouldn't go with 6 clubs. It's a nonsense. Get the right equipment or don't have it at all.
Do we know how much it would cost to upgrade the VAR to proper VAR? Is it just completely unrealistic, or? I mean,
haven't Rangers said something? Didn't they say recently that they would be prepared to put in money to get a better VAR system? I think they said that after one of their recent statements about the standards of refereeing. Are all the clubs going to be prepared to dig deep? I don't know. But this ain't working.
I'm with you, Swanee. I think we should just get rid. To be honest, it's driving fans mad every week. It's good because we get Des on, but apart from that, it's.
I was going to say it costs us about 25 minutes on Hotline Live every night. What's for that point of view as well, man?
By the way, it doesn't matter if we've got VAR or if we don't have VAR. We'll still have the same referees. They'll still be making the same stupid mistakes. So we'll always need to speak to Des.
Yeah,
Des got a permanent gig here.
Only the clubs won't have to shell out at the start of the season.
Very true. I think that's us up to date. Well, the decisions from the weekend. Was there anything else, Keith, that you wanted to pick Des's brain about before I?
No, I think we've covered all bases there, Daniel.
I agree. Des, it's always an absolute pleasure. You know, it's my favourite time of the week, the Ref Corner. But thanks for joining us as ever on the Hotline Live.
Yep, not a problem at all. My wife's going to turn my phone off on a Sunday night now when you start texting. So
I'll send smoke signals, Des. Don't worry, I'll get that message to you. Swanee knows that. I'll hunt him down.
This feels like a bit of a bromance now. You know, Daniel's more excited than Des's wife.
It's like you and Scott McDermott.
Text messaging. Yeah.
I bet you Daniel knows how many sugars in Des's tea.
One lump or two, Desmond.
Move on.
You called us double D's last week.
Yeah, the double D's.
It's two with a splash of milk for the record.
Move on.
Des, it's always an absolute pleasure.
We'll leave it there.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. Cheers, Des.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Des.
I do like having Des on. Away from the refereeing decisions at the weekend, guys, there was a piece on Record Sport Online today debating the merits of Callum McGregor. It was put forward the Callum McGregor conundrum. I know you both contributed to this, and I think you're both of the same mindset as am I, that you need to have Callum McGregor on the Celtic team, don't you?
Yeah, yep. Unless he rocks out of the Lennoxtown treatment room with one leg, and I'd still be thinking, can I get him into my team? Look, I don't know where all this is coming from. There seems to be a bit of a clamour here, a bit of a sort of anti-Callum McGregor campaign amongst Celtic supporters. I think it's crazy. And we were discussing this before we come on. Swanee correctly says that it's a point I was making earlier in a conversation I was having. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain gets the ball in the net twice in the first half at the weekend. And on both occasions, right, first one was chopped off for offside, and I think they calibrated their lines right enough on that occasion. Yeah. Goal's chopped off for offside, but it drops them because Callum McGregor's had a ping from 20 yards, forced the keeper into an awkward-looking save. Second one, McGregor takes a shot. I think it's Gogic sort of blocks it, half blocks it. Ball spins to Oxlade-Chamberlain, goal. And that's the winning goal. So Callum McGregor has had a massive impact in the moment that effectively won Celtic the game and got them 3 points and kept them in touch at the top of the table. Why are we even having a conversation about should Callum McGregor have been playing at the weekend? I think it's ludicrous.
Sorry?
No. Callum, never mind Celtic, in my eyes, Callum McGregor's the best player in Scotland, still. If Callum McGregor wasn't fit to contribute, I'd be willing to bet good money Callum McGregor would be the first person to put his hand up to the Celtic coaching staff and say, I'm no fat guy. Because he always puts the club before himself. He's an immaculate professional, Swanee. If he felt he couldn't contribute to the standard that he wanted to, or that the manager wants him to, then you're right. He'd put his hand up and say, I'll need to sit this one out. Here's a guy that's missing out on a chance to go to a World Cup finals for the first time because he put the club first to make sure his body was right. So if he wasn't right, he would put his hand up. If he's not putting his hand up and he's telling the coaching staff, I'm good to go, 60%, a 50% Callum McGregor, because it's what he does for other players on the pitch. He organises, he stimulates people, he gets things. He doesn't have to always be doing it himself. He makes sure the right things are happening on the pitch. So, and also, Swanee, it's almost as if Callum McGregor's picked the Celtic team and he's decided that he's playing. Well, there is that as well. You know the way this conversation goes. Martin and he'll be going to him saying, look, I know you're carrying. What can you give us on Saturday? Can you play on Saturday? Can you I'll take you off after an hour, 70 minutes, whatever it is. Can you give me 70 minutes? Yes, I can. I'm up for doing that. It's the manager's choice to select the team. Callum McGregor hasn't said, by the way, I'm playing, so forget about Arnie Engels or whoever else. I'll be starting in the midfield today. It doesn't work like that. And 85 to 90% of footballers in European football at this time of a season will be carrying something,
yeah,
to a degree of something. Listen, I'm not sitting here saying Callum McGregor has to play every single week if he's not, if he's clearly not right, but he's clearly is right. Because I'm pretty certain, like I say, if he wasn't, or he felt he wasn't doing something to help, he wouldn't be there.
And Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney haven't decided to play him to deliberately make the team worse. They've decided to play him because in their estimation, and they're pretty good judges, Callum McGregor makes Celtic better, even if he's not quite 100% at full fitness.
In the comments, Green Machine says McGregor has held Celtic together himself since Scott Brown left. Marzuno says Cal McGregor is the least of our worries. Joseph counters it though by saying Casper said he was fit and look what happened there. Just saying, but I think you're right, Swanee. I think if McGregor wasn't fit, I think he'd be the first one to say, look guys, I'm in no shape to play.
I'll say it again, he's not going to a World Cup this summer because he put it.
Aye, that's a great point. The other stuff that was bubbling away to there, Keith, Falkirk have issued a statement saying that they're rethinking how many tickets Rangers will get for their finale of the Premiership on the last day of the season. Apparently, they were unhappy with the amount of Rangers fans in the home end yesterday. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, a little bit blindsided by this one. Only just was catching up with that just before we came on air. What is the general grievance?
Well, like I say, I think there was a lot of Rangers fans had made their way into the home end yesterday, and a lot of Falkirk fans were pretty unhappy about it.
I'm just a little bit struggling with how did they make their way in there? Did Falkirk fans sell them tickets?
I think you're now starting to approach the crux of the matter there, Keith, especially if you're looking forward to the final day of the season.
Yeah,
I've seen situations where I've seen Celtic go away a lot, and fans seem to get everywhere when they go to play. When it's the night when the title can be won, if Rangers go to Falkirk on that day, knowing they can win the title, there'll be Rangers fans offering all sorts to Falkirk fans.
Mm-hmm. And there'll be Falkirk fans that don't fancy turning up to watch a potential Rangers title party.
Yeah, and somebody's going to give £500 for a ticket because they want to be in there to see it. I mean, these kind of mad things happen. It's clear. There's clearly been something to that. I'm a bit like you, Keith. I'm not fully aware of all the facts, so if anybody wants to come on and shoot me down, please do. But you can only assume that guys who have been able to obtain tickets for the Falkirk stands have moved them on to people. I'm pretty sure that's I can't see how it could have worked any other way unless the ticketing system wasn't robust and Rangers fans were able to go into the ticket office and just buy them at the Falkirk Stadium. So I would need to, as I say, I apologise because I'm a bit like you, Keith. I'm not completely up to speed with this one, but it can only be one of those two factors. One of them Falkirk can control, the other one they can't really.
Yeah.
If their own fans choose to move the tickets on to guys who want them to make a few quid, but I suppose they should have a seat number, they should have a ticket, they should know who these people are if they've been moved on. And if that's the case, you also get a situation, and again, I've seen it in clubs, I've seen it in places where you'll get the Celtic fans or the Rangers fans, or if it's Hearts in this situation as well, well, it can't happen this season, obviously, but if it was, say, a Livingston or a Kilmarnock, they buy hospitality packages.
Mm-hmm.
That happens a lot. A lot of people are just able to go, well, buy a table of 10. I've seen it happen at loads of away grounds, especially involving the Old Firm, places like Hamilton and that. You buy the corporate or 12, 14 guys, and then those fans, when they have their dinner or their lunch or whatever, they then go up and take their seats and they're bang in the middle of the home stands, and then you get a wee bit of grief because people start argy-bargying, and the fans who bought the tickets go, well, we bought the corporate ticket. Your club sold us that. Don't start moaning about it now. No, you didn't ask us what team we supported when we bought it. So
that's what McKinnon in the comments says. That he says Rangers fans are trying to buy hospitality at Tynecastle. Fans are desperate. I mean, like you say, Swanee, would you? John Smith phones up to book hospitality. Do you give him the Spanish Inquisition to see who?
I mean, you would yeah, exactly, and that clearly doesn't happen. I'm not saying it doesn't happen every club. I'm sure it happens at some clubs and maybe it doesn't happen at other clubs. I don't know, but I've seen enough away fans in those sections to know that it happens. Somehow they manage to do it. So if I'm Falkirk, again, without knowing the ins and outs of this story exactly, you've got to have an idea of what this is going to be like in the last day of the season and apportion as many as you think you can to Rangers. We've seen it happen with St Johnstone. It used to happen at Kilmarnock. I think I remember being there one day when Celtic won the league. Celtic had 3 stands at Kilmarnock because it was just like, you know, the club has to understand. As I say, I think I mentioned St Johnstone already. I think am I right in saying the owners or the owners got a bit of stick actually for giving away, and then they kind of stopped it, and then there was an understanding that think of the amount of money that the club's losing if we don't.
Yeah.
Do this. St Mirren used to be 2 stands, didn't it? And then they stopped. And Livingston, for example, when Hearts were there last week, it was basically a mini time castle.
Yeah.
You know, because that. So they need to be a wee bit cute in how they think about it and try and maximise it for themselves as well, to be honest.
Fair point. Is there anything else, Keith, that we should touch on before we wrap up Monday night's Hotline Live? I've always got a horrible feeling I'm forgetting something.
No, the only thing that was kind of interesting this afternoon is I see it's basically been confirmed that we were talking about Andy Robertson, and you asked the question last week, Daniel, about the potential of a return to Celtic. And I mentioned at the time, well, look, Spurs are clearly, obviously very interested. I think Spurs have now confirmed, or there's been confirmation of some sort that a discussion has already started between Andy Robertson and Spurs. But it is entirely dependent upon Spurs still being in the English Premier League next season, which is far from certain by the looks of stuff. So, Andy Robertson's going to World Cup, and I think it's really interesting as well that Andy Robertson, I don't know if he's come out, I think he did, didn't he? And said that there was no contract on the table. Liverpool didn't offer him anything.
Yeah, Liverpool didn't offer one.
It's quite staggering, isn't it?
I'm really surprised by that now.
Yeah, look, maybe Liverpool have said, well, do you know what? You're past your sell by. You're not the player that you once were. I'm not sure there's a great deal of evidence for that. I think he's still a better left back than Kerkez, and I think that Andy Robertson is probably systematic of the problems that Arne Slot has at that club right now. That I think he's trying to sort of remodel and rejig the Jurgen Klopp team, the Jurgen Klopp generation, and I don't think he's doing a very good job of it. And I think that all he's actually doing is he's probably pissing some people off along the way. Virgil van Dijk doesn't look happy. Andy Robertson, he's clearly going to find himself another club. Mo Salah's away, and I feel that Andy Robertson's been particularly badly treated by Arne Slot, and I don't blame him for realising that now's as good a time as any to move on.
Do you not think there's also a need for a freshness, though, Keith?
Possibly.
And the fact that they've hung on to these guys for a season too long, maybe. I'm talking about more Van Dijk and Salah.
Aye.
Yeah,
I think you're trying to regenerate the team if you keep the old guys in. We saw that Chelsea tried to do it too quick, didn't they? When the manager went in there with Terry and Lamptey, they ripped all of them out, and he tried to do it too. I think he tried to transition it, and I don't think it worked. Looking from afar, I'm not in with the bricks of Liverpool. I've got no idea how it. But just listening to some of the comment, Virgil van Dijk calling out the rest of the team.
Yeah.
Etihad, you're thinking, is there one group of boys in this new gang?
That's what I think. That's what I think, Swanee. That's what
has to put his eggs in one of those baskets, and he can't put it in the basket of the old brigade because they're coming at the end of their careers. So he's going to have to move one lot out. Kind of has that feel to me. When I heard Van Dijk talk after the Manchester City Cup tag, he basically just came out and said he's chucked it.
I came out and said we gave up.
A captain doesn't do that if he's not looking at individuals within that dressing room and trying to out them, and he's outing them on the manager's behalf as well.
That's absolutely the vibe I've got, Swanee.
Absolutely outing them.
You've got a group of players in there that think that, you know, probably Slot's trying to change too much unnecessarily and too soon. He went into that dressing room. It was Jurgen Klopp's team. Yeah. Swanee, you, me, and Dan could have taken over that team and won the English Premier League with them.
I think that's harsh, Keith. Because
I was just go out and do what Jurgen told you to do, guys. Just go and do that.
But then Jurgen Klopp didn't win it the season before, and managers get slaughtered when they come in and make a mess of it. And yet this guy wins the league, and we're like, well,
listen. The sensible thing to do was there's no need to make changes here.
But,
I get that, but he seems to be in an unseemly for me rush. Swanee thinks he's probably waited too long. I think he's trying to do too much too soon. He's trying to make too many changes. He was conscious of the fact that Mo Salah was such a huge player for them, but he wanted to find the solution to Mo Salah when Mo Salah was still the the answer
Yeah.
to the question. He wasn't the problem, and effectively now he looks as if his head's gone as well. So, yeah, I think it's a kind of unsatisfactory end to a kind of golden era for Liverpool and for Andy Robertson. But I tell you what, he should be nice and fresh for the World Cup because he hasn't been overplayed this season, and I dare say he'll arrive in America as a man with a bit of a point to prove as well.
And from a Scotland fan point of view, Keith, and from a Scottish football fan point of view, I'm actually quite glad that it ends this way. He doesn't have an 18 months where he's absolutely horrendous for Liverpool and gets hundreds. He goes out after having an incredible career there. You know, winning the biggest honour in club football is part of the journey, and he walks out with his head held high. I don't
think there was any danger of him having a horrendous time, Swanee, but I do think there was a big danger of he could sit in his bum for almost all the next season. You know, even if they had given him a contract, Arne Slot.
That team continues to regress, Keith, and Kerkez gets injured and he's playing for it for 6 months. It go horrendously wrong pretty quickly because I'm bad shape as it is.
Yeah. Aye, well, true enough.
He could go and join the ever improving on the up Tottenham.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
We'll find out what horrendous feels like.
It'll be interesting because Tottenham are 2 points off safety. They've still got Aston Villa away, Chelsea away, Everton, Brighton are their form team. They've got Brighton this weekend. I think Tottenham, Keith, will probably go down, to be honest.
I think they're in a mess. And I can understand entirely why Andy Robertson is sat down. He knows that there's a big interest there. He probably has a fair idea of what sort of wages he would have been looking at because, you know, Tottenham were at the table for him back in January. And Slot didn't allow it to happen at that point. So he'll have an idea of what the entire financial package is. It must be pretty impressive, certainly enough for him to want to reopen these discussions. But yeah, look, it's one thing getting all that deal thrashed out, but if Spurs can't keep themselves in the top flight, then it's a move that Andy Robertson won't make. So we are next.
John says in the comments, Big Ange will be laughing up his cuff at the Spurs situation. And the very last thing, Swanee, very last thing, Game Machine, a shout out to Rory, giving Trump's mob a doing in the first major. I know you're a big golf man. Did you enjoy the Masters?
Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah, it was fantastic the way he did it as well. Completely different in manner to 12 months ago when it was all the kind of emotional stuff and all of that. It was different. He was running away with it. Thursday, Friday, just freewheeled, didn't he? Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday was a bit sticky. He kind of fancied him on Sunday morning, didn't he? Because he was still joint leader and he'd had his bad round out the way. But as usual with McIlroy, it was never simple. But 6 majors now. Equal with that crowd, though, just behind Harry Varden. He's going to be Europe's greatest ever player, and he's going to catch Colin Montgomery's order of merit record as well, I would imagine, probably this year. So,
are you a golf fan, Keith? I've never actually asked you that.
I love the final day of the Masters.
Aye, that's brilliant, eh?
I love the drama of it, but actually I was otherwise engaged on Sunday, so I didn't get to see as much of it as I wanted to. But it is one of the great sporting events, isn't it? The final round of the Masters. And as they said, you know, once they get into that back nine, the drama's just incredible. I get the feeling that I missed a lot of the drama on Sunday because every time I was looking at it, it seemed to be that Rory McIlroy had pretty much things in hand. But I kind of missed the other stuff, Justin Rose going top. Now I kind of missed all that. So by the time that I switched it back on, he was coming up the 18th, and I thought, well, there you go. I didn't miss any drama today, but it turns out I might have been wrong.
Yes.
I'm sure Rory listens to Hotline Live, so congratulations, Rory. For tonight, guys, that brings us to the end of Monday night's Hotline Live, brought to you by NordVPN. Massive thank you to Des Roache for coming on as always, and Keith, Swanee. It's always an absolute pleasure joining you.
Cheers, Dan. See you tomorrow.
We'll be back at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Hope you can join us then. Thanks for watching.